In this video, we're going to learn concept on classes and objects. All right, so it's typically on object-oriented principles. Oops, object-oriented principles as applied in programming. All right, so quickly, what we want to understand is why classes, why objects. So just like we explained in the previous video when we were discussing concept on methods, likewise in programming, quite apart from using methods, where methods help us to create our applications in a modular form, okay, making it much more modular. Now you can have several other methods that are closely related in achieving a common task. You want to put these methods with their um, related variables into another container. So that container is what we may literally want to, we may actually want to call it a class. Okay, so the class in a non-programming concept, they serve like a container. I want to explain this to the very fundamental level. That is why I'm using non-technical terms in here. So the class will serve like a container for methods, and then let me put a plus because they are together, methods and then, not methods or methods and variables. Okay, so the variables are going to capture properties about the objects. So simply put, the class is seen as a container. What does a container house? It houses the methods and then the variables. Okay, because these methods and variables perform a closely tasked activity together in accomplishing a singular solution to a particular challenge that is given out. Okay, so in getting the theoretical concept, we want to also say that the class defines the the behavior of an object. In some books, they say that a class is the blueprint of an object. Okay, so quickly, to understand this very well, we will need to know what the object is. If you can remember very well, we have already been using the scanner class. In using the scanner class, we more often had to create an object for the scanner class to be able to help us use it. All right, so this will really help us to hammer again on what the object is, and then from this perspective, we can clearly understand what we were doing earlier on when we were using these APIs. Okay, so for example, using the scanner class, we need to create an object for it. You can call it, let's say, OB, or in several books they use the object name keyboard. So keyboard is not a keyword in here, but it is literally a name given to the object for the scanner class. Using the operator new is to create memory location for the object keyboard. Okay, so followed by the name of the class again, scanner, and then we pass on the argument system.in. Anytime we're doing this, we're creating an object. We're creating an object for the class scanner. So we already know what an object is. Okay, so this object now is what actually provides the behavior of the class what scanner, because the class scanner has several other methods within it, and then for those methods to be accessed, we needed to use what, the object keyboard. So you take, for example, if we needed to use the wrapper classes, we use keyboard. We have to use, for example, keyboard dot next what, next int or next double or whatsoever it could be, and then we use this to help us to capture the input from what, from the keyboard. Okay, so without the object of the class scanner, we could not have had access to the functions, or those functions that will help us to now capture the input and then convert them into the appropriate native types. Okay, so objects like we are putting emphasis on here, the object is an instance of the class. So let me clearly write that here. An object is an instance of a class. So we would simply put that the keyboard here is an instance of the class what? Scanner. What do these objects do? Okay, the object help us to clearly define the behavior of what? The behavior of the class. All right. So quickly now, what we're going to do further is to explain concepts on what you call fields and methods. These are the two major fields and methods are the two major attributes or capabilities of an object. Okay, so the major capabilities or what the object is able to do are seen in terms of what? Fields and then methods. They are seen as fields, and then I want to put once again that the fields in programming is literally making reference to variables. Okay, so you take for example, if you are creating a class human being, then a field in this case, an example could be that all human beings do have a name. You have a date of birth. Are you thinking of something new? Date of birth. We all have height. These are things that define us as what? As human beings. Now we mentioned once again that the objects do have behaviors, and these behaviors are put directly in the form of what? A method. Okay, so in the same example of human beings, a human creating a class called human being. Human beings, just like we said, they will have fields, for example, name, date of birth, height, just included. The methods, what really would define you as a human being is that human beings do talk, human beings do eat, human beings sleep, human beings walk. Just add to it. So these ones are peculiar with what? With the capabilities of human beings. So our unique attributes, what identifies us as human beings, we have names, date of birth, height, complexion, maybe country of origin. But our major behavior as human beings are seen as, for example, talking, eating, sleeping, walking. If we use, for example, a behavior of dogs, then we see that dogs do bark, right? Dogs do bark. That is a distinct behavior for dogs. But in this situation, we are looking at that of human beings. So fields and methods are the major capabilities of an object. Okay, and literally fields are exactly what we want to put in practice as variables whilst we code. Okay, so this will bring us to quickly another theoretical concept on what we want to make reference to as data hiding. Data hiding in this case will mean that we now be able to make some aspects of our code blocks not accessible by some other side of it. So in this perspective, we're simply looking at securing information. So now we're going to learn it to make some aspect of our code secured or obscured from some other code blocks, so then they are not directly accessible. Okay, so the major key word in here is denying direct access to data or information within some aspect of what? The code blocks. Okay, this same concept is referred to as encapsulation, which is borrowed from the medical word capsules. The medicine is inside of the capsule, so the outer layer is protecting what? The medicine, which is inside of what? Of the capsule. All right. So because of this concept of data hiding or encapsulation, we are able to make some properties, or some fields and then methods um, not directly accessible, which will mean we are going to give them private attributes. Okay, so if they are going to be private, then how you'd access these private attributes will differ if they were what public. Okay, so we will learn when they are private, how do we access these variables, these properties of the class. So we would learn further to understand concept on accessors and mutators. I will urge you to stay on, so then in the next video I'm going to create an example on how classes are created, and I'm going to use a very simple example on calculating the area of a triangle, to help you fully appreciate this introductory concept to methods. Thank you. If you have any questions on these theoretical concepts, leave them in the comment section below. I will make time to answer them all.